All right, so today we're doing something a little different. We're not just going to talk about a book, we're going to build a map. We're taking Dr. Robin Stern's incredible work, The Gaslight Effect, and turning it into this visual roadmap to help you navigate one of the most confusing, most damaging forms of manipulation out there.
So let's just jump right in with a question that honestly gets right to the heart of it all. Have you ever been in a conversation, maybe an argument or even a long-term relationship, where you just start to question your own sanity? You know something feels off, but you just can't quite put your finger on it.
Well, here's the thing, and this is the good news. You're not crazy. You might just be lost. Lost in this really dense fog of emotional manipulation. So I want you to think of this whole explainer as your personal GPS, right? It's a clear, step-by-step guide to help you find your way back to your reality.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics of this. The very first landmark on our map is understanding the core dynamic. See, Dr. Stern makes this really powerful point. Gaslighting isn't just something one person does to another. Nope, it's a toxic dance. She calls it the Gaslight Tango. And it actually requires two active participants.
So, what is this dance really? Really, at its core, the gaslight effect is this calculated, manipulative performance. One person just systematically plants these little seeds of doubt, right? And it causes the other person to question everything, their perceptions, their memories, even their own sanity. It's so subtle, but absolutely devastating. Now take a really close look here, because this reveals the engine that's driving this whole toxic dance. It's like two gears, right? Perfectly interlocked. On one side, you've got the gaslighter's overwhelming need to be right, to control the whole story. And this isn't just about winning an argument. It's about holding on to this fragile sense of power. And then on the other side, you've got the other person's deep-seated need for approval. They want to be seen as good, as capable, and when those two needs collide, boom, it creates the perfect storm for manipulation.
Let's make this real. Look at the story of Katie from the book. She was this friendly, outgoing person, but her boyfriend, Brian, was constantly telling her she was too flirty with people. At first, she just brushed it off. But over time, with that constant criticism, she started to doubt herself. She actually started to believe his version of reality over her own. That, right there, is the tango in action.
So, okay, how do you know if you're caught in this dance? Let's move to the next part of our map, the warning signs. I want you to think of these as checkpoints. Just clear signals from Dr. Stern's research that you might be walking into that fog.
Okay, checkpoint number 1. And honestly, this is the big one. Do you find yourself constantly second-guessing your own thoughts and feelings? Like, you have an idea or a feeling, but you immediately go, wait, am I overreacting? Am I just being too sensitive? That constant self-doubt, that is a huge red flag.
And then there's checkpoint 2. You find yourself saying, I'm sorry, all the time. Like it's on autopilot. You're apologizing for things that you know aren't even your fault, just to keep the peace, just to try and win back their approval. That's a huge sign you're taking responsibility for their feelings.
And then we get to checkpoint 3. You start editing your stories, right? You stop telling your friends and family the full picture because you're exhausted from trying to explain away the other person's behavior. This isolation, which you're actually doing to yourself, it's a classic symptom. And it's so dangerous because it cuts you off from the very people who could tell you, no, you're not crazy. Now this slide is absolutely crucial because it shows how this whole thing escalates. It's not a switch, it's a slow burn, and it happens in 3 distinct stages. First, on the left, you've got disbelief. You hear something and you think, that's a weird thing to say, but you just brush it off. Then you move into the defense stage. This is where you find yourself arguing all the time, desperately trying to prove your reality, to win their approval back. And then finally, you hit the stage of depression. You are just so emotionally exhausted that you give in. You start accepting their narrative as your own. And at this point, you've completely lost your own map.
Okay, so to navigate your way out of this, you have to understand the terrain. Dr. Stern identifies 3 common types of gaslighters. And just recognizing the pattern, that's the first step to disarming it.
So let's break these down real quick. Look at the top row, the glamour gaslighter. Their tactic is all about these huge, grand romantic gestures. It feels magical at first, right? But then it just leaves you feeling empty and confused. Then you've got the good guy. They use these calm, reasonable arguments that are literally designed to wear you down until you feel totally drained and unheard. And finally, the intimidator. Their approach is way more direct. Just overt anger, criticism, it leaves you feeling scared and belittled.
All right, we've mapped the problem, we've identified the warning signs, we've looked at the terrain. Now we get to the most important part of our whole journey, the escape route. This is where we shift from just understanding the manipulation to taking real, concrete action to stop it. And here it is. This might be the most empowering idea in the entire book. Because gaslighting is a two-person dance. You have the power to change the steps. You're not just a passive victim here. You're a participant. And you know what that means? It means you hold the power to stop dancing.
So, here's the crucial point. You turn off the gas not by trying to change them, but by changing your own goal. You have to let go of that need for their approval. The absolute moment you decide that you don't need them to agree with your reality, for your feelings to be valid, you take all their power away. Just like that.
But okay, how do you stay grounded when you're so used to doubting yourself? Well, Dr. Stern offers this brilliant analogy, the flight attendant. Think about it. When you're on a plane and it hits turbulence, what do? You look at the flight attendants to see if you should be scared. You need to find your flight attendants in life, those trusted friends, family, maybe a therapist, people who can give you a solid reality check when your world starts shaking. Okay, to make this all super practical, we're going to end with a rapid-fire 3-step action playbook. These are 3 things you can literally start doing today to reclaim your map and find your way out of that fog. You ready? First step, name it to tame it. Just name it. As Dr. Stern says, you have to name it before you can tame it. Just recognizing that what you're experiencing has a name, it's a specific, documented tactic called gaslighting that immediately shrinks its power. It's not you, it's a strategy. Number 2, opt out of the argument. You do not have to attend every single argument you're invited to. Seriously, instead of endlessly defending your reality, you can just say, I hear what you're saying, but I see it differently. And then you walk away. You can choose, right now, to just stop dancing the tango. And number 3, the most powerful move of all, trust your compass. Your feelings, they are your internal navigation system. They are not up for debate. The single most powerful act of resistance you can do is to decide that your feelings are valid, full stop. No one else's approval required. And that brings us to the final, crucial question that this whole journey leads to. See, the gaslighter wants you to live in their reality, but you have a choice. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Whose reality are you going to choose to live in? Yours or theirs?